Okay, so disclaimers first. Source Audio did send me this pedal. They didn't pay me any money, yada yada, here we go. So I'm torn on this one. I've loved previous Source Audio pedals. Ventris, their reverb pedal, is my favorite reverb. When it breaks, I will buy a new one. I love it. They've made a bunch of other great stuff also. This one follows in line with a lot of those in that it's high quality DSP. It's stereo in, stereo out, great high quality digital processing. And that is a thing that I think works really well for a reverb, works really well for certain kinds of delays, and for the goal of this pedal is questionable. Well, there's a lot about the goals of this pedal that at least aren't for me. I'm going to start though by just making some sounds, let you judge. I'm going to play a pretty basic arpeggio that's just a preset here in the Mini Freak. Pretty full spectrum. It gives the pedal a lot to chew on. So here we go. I'm going to go through each algorithm fairly quickly. So here's the dry sound, and now the pedal. This is this first setting called radio. There's a bunch of controls, bandwidth. They all change somewhat different things on each one. I like the bandpass. Can't really tell what that's doing. We get some I don't know what I would call that, intermittent noise. And then there's a filter. And there is modulation, pitch modulation on all of them. It does more on some than others. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. This is tape. It's called tape. It's more of a tape delay than just, say, passing it through tape, like gin loss or something like that. I love the stereo separation. That's great. That might be one of my favorite things it does. I don't love the distortion on a lot of these settings, this one in particular. I guess they call it destruct. Let's make it a little brighter. That sounds pretty great. All right, next one. This is called U-verb. Kind of downsampled or something. Real noisy. All right, next up, Crush. Definitely some sample rate reduction happening there. Sounds nice. Band passed, again nice. Stick with the middle there. This might be like a bit crusher. I don't know, maybe it's just the same distortion. Again, I don't really like it. It's not too bad, right? That's kind of cool. I do like this. All right, moving on. Ladder, which I think they mean ladder filter, like a Moog ladder filter. This might be my favorite of the bunch. I feel like it actually sounds pretty convincing. Can be pretty subtle. Or not. All right, vinyl. Some nice stereo stuff happening. I don't love those little vinyl ticks, those little dusty bits that it's adding in there. I should say, full disclosure, there is a desktop app for this where you can probably edit a lot of these in detail, and I haven't played with that yet. I have used it on their other pedals. and it's great. And maybe you can get some better things happening than what I'm finding here using that. But for now, I haven't used it. All right, the last one, glitch. Again with the questionable distortion. So this one's doing something that's kind of like Chase Bliss Onward, one side of that. I wouldn't say I'm crazy about it here. This might be something that I think it's interacting with your envelopes, with the volume of what you play in. So this might be a little more interesting with the guitar input. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So, okay, to dive into my hesitations with this pedal, there are kind of two things. The first one, I've talked about in other videos. It's the fact that they call it lo-fi elements. So lo-fi has a lot of meaning to a lot of people at this point. It sort of gets referred to as a musical genre. A lot of things get called this. And I don't love it on instruments because it sort of presupposes the use and what you're going to get out of it. At least I fear it limits the amount of imagination that the musician is going to bring to it when they start playing with it. Second hesitation, it's giving you a lot of options, but it's sort of a master of none. A lot of these things, like tape or a ladder filter, which is an analog filter, or even the radio thing, the way I like to work with music is to go straight to the source with those sorts of things and play with them and get all those interesting sort of mistakes you get out of actually having the thing rather than playing with this sort of emulated, guardrailed version of it. But for me, it's a lot more rewarding to, say, seek out a ladder filter via a synth or a modular device, same way with tape stuff, playing with tape machines, or the radio, the glitch, all that stuff. There's a lot of interesting devices being made for modular or other pedals that gets you a lot closer to the heart of what makes these things cool and allows you to be a lot more creative with it. Obviously, that's more expensive, it takes more time, so it's not going to be right for everybody. But for me, that's a lot more inspiring than this sort of a thing. That said, they set out to do a thing to give you easily accessible options in this lo-fi genre, and if we can accept the lo-fi as a genre, I guess here, they did give you that. This is going to be perfect for people who want that sort of a thing but don't want to dive too deep. Thanks for checking out the video. Hope to see you next time.